Good evening, I'm Kemi Amalulu. Welcome to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kemi TV. Some of you got this notification from other channels on social media like Facebook, like Instagram, and Twitter. And thank you for joining me on this broadcast. I'm a retired journalist now. I'm also a pharmacist, and I'm also a PR specialist. Those are degrees. But at the end of the day, most of you know I'm an activist, and most of my activism involves around community and gun violence activism. Well, good morning. I said good morning. Well, good evening, and thanks for joining me. Once again, I'm Kemi Amalulu. It's been a very tough week for me because in community activism and gun violence activism, this has been a very busy week, and it makes you want to come out of retirement after 30 years of doing these things. Brazil had a school shooting. New Zealand had a mosque shooting. I've been called by all the different media all across the world, CNN and CTV and all the international media because of the gun violence activism part of it. And then, of course, the community activism, which is very, very deep in Nigeria after what happened 48 hours ago in Itafaji, Lagos. Everybody knows what happened at Itafaji, Lagos, on Lagos Island, illegally, according to the Lagos state government. And when the building came out, several people were trapped. So far, they have 20 killed and maybe 43 injured. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. The reason I'm doing this broadcast is because something has just happened in Ibadan. So we have breaking news coming out of Molete Bode. Let me explain to you what's going on. Here's what we're looking at right now. I'm in Ibadan, Nigeria, where I'm based, my hometown where I live. So it's still very early, still fresh, but we have a major problem. Okay, I just went over there to visit my dad. Okay, who still keeps an office over there. The family house, I live in Agodi, the family house is in that entire Molete Bode area, okay? You're going to see that word on the news in the next few days. Bode, B-O-D-E, that's how it's pronounced, Bode. Okay, Bode is very known for the market, Bode Market. When I was living in Molete side, when I first came from Canada, I used to shop at Bode Market. It's a very huge market, it's a beautiful market. And there's an area called Shogoye in that area, okay? The Shogoye area of Bode will be like a residential area. What we know so far is that there is a building that's two-story and it's uncompleted. Okay, when you say uncompleted buildings, this is very common in Ibadan. People are building houses. Suddenly they die or suddenly they have no money. Suddenly the building is abandoned. There's many uncompleted buildings in Ibadan. Some of them uncompleted when I was even 12 years old. I'm going to be 55. So what happens is people move into these houses and live in it. Housing still remains a problem in Nigeria. People have to have a roof over their heads. This building is this two-story building that's an uncompleted building. And right now, we have a major situation. 9:15 p.m. in Ibadan, Nigeria, there are cries coming out of that building. People are crying for help. You can hear the screams and the cries under the rubble. We have very minimal equipment right now, and it's dark. We have electricity in Agodi. Some areas of Ibadan have no electricity. That's the Molete area. Most people are using generators, or they're just in the dark. Around that Shogoye area, it's not exactly middle class. People are poor in that section. We need equipment. We need big lamps. A rescue operation needs to start right away. You can hear people groaning and screaming under 2 stories of building that crashed. Right now, from eyewitnesses at the scene, they told me this is a 2-story building. Okay, some media are reporting 3 stories, but right now, what we know is it's an uncompleted 2-story building with people feared trapped in there. Okay, I wouldn't say fear trapped. People are trapped in there. There's noises coming out of there. Okay, it's been a very difficult week. We saw what happened at Itafaji. A building that was so old, marked for demolition twice, and housed a school that was being operated illegally. So we had people die in the shops, people die in the residence, and people die in the school. And 20 killed, 45 injured. It's a very, very difficult one. Now, so what do we have in Nigeria? All our ministries of lands and housing, all our ministries of urban development need to really get to work. For example, we right here in Ibadan, we have a new governor-elect, Seyi Makinde. He lives right there. He's my neighbor behind here. And a lot of people have seen all the promises that Seyi made during the campaign. and we're all excited to see him get to work. You know, he's done a lot of courtesy visits to politicians, to organizations. Many organizations have come to his house to visit. If you follow him on his Twitter, his Facebook, and his Instagram, you'll see photos of everything he's been doing, which is good because this is the way it's done. Okay, a lot of new governors. We haven't had a new governor for 8 years. Okay, a lot of new, public officials should do this between now and May 29th when they're gonna be sworn in. So this building in Budi, Sugar area, it's, what I saw basically is it's just rubble and noises coming out of it, and it's human beings. We have very, very minimal equipment. Governor Ajimobi, if you're watching, everybody needs to get over there. Okay, we were there, we left. I'm home now in Agodi. In the morning, the driver doesn't come on Saturday. It doesn't work on Saturdays, but I'll try my best to drive over there and then walk from the house. I'll park at my dad's office and walk over there. What I want to tell people in Ibadan right now, Ibadan people, please, please, please stay at home. Okay, leave that site to journalists, reporters, television station, news stations. Okay, everybody should stay at home because the crowd complicates everything. We saw what happened at Itafaji. The crowd complicates things. And what's going to happen is when the crowd is there, they want to help. We understand that. And technically, in a way, they're needed. In a way, they're needed, but in a way, they're not needed. Okay, the crowd control can be very emotional. Some of the crowd will see things they don't want to see, and they get emotional, screaming, crying, family members, and then it complicates the rescue operation. Right now, they need to start a search and rescue right away. They need to speak to people. If you have any information on who lived there, okay, who lived there, how many people live there, please tell the police, tell the authorities, okay? Let me try and do this broadcast in Yoruba. For people that are watching in Yoruba, even though I'm doing it on YouTube, I'm going to have to carry it to Facebook so that people can spread it, okay? Because Facebook is going to do an emergency thing. It's a busy week for Facebook. They're going to do that Facebook check-in emergency and all that. You know that emergency thing they did? They did it in Brazil. They did it in New Zealand this morning. They did it in Itafaji. People have to check to make sure they're okay. So I'm going to move it around. Okay, it's really a sad thing. Today's the Ides of March. You know what they say about beware of the Ides of March? It's just bad things that happen on the 15th of March. And this has started since the 13th. And God, these predictions that I made in January and all that, let's put that aside right now. All this mayhem has to stop. I mean, from Sunday, a plane crash, everything's just been going on. If you're living, if you're living in a building in Ibadan that's uncompleted, okay? This afternoon at 2 o'clock, I just took all the kids away from the mango tree. Okay, across the street, there's a mansion being built. It's a site. And there's a mango tree with red, nice, juicy mangoes on top. When the guys are not on the site, I don't like the school children going there. This is what I was talking on Instagram, and people are saying, oh, we used to all climb mango trees and all that. If something happens in that site and something collapses, those children will be hurt or killed. So this afternoon, I went across the street because the line of the ones you could get the mango. I said, no, you can't go in there. If a building or anything collapses, and you know what? 4 hours later, the building is collapsing in another side of town. So please try, guys. If you're living in an uncompleted building, move out. Okay? Housing is not easy. We know that. Be careful. If you're living in a building, you are always crashing. We saw the church in Uyo. Look at everybody that died. The church wasn't finished. All the steel, everything killed people, cut their necks, everything. We don't need that. I know our new governor is going to go around community and, make inspections and things like that. That's what the government is for. Now, let me just conclude this video. Let me finish this video by telling you guys about what happened in Itafaji. Everybody knows what happened. But if you're in Lagos, okay, people who are injured in Itafaji are not supposed to be charged anything, okay, for medical care. What is happening is they are the ones, the government are the ones who are going to pay for the medical, okay? Government is going to pay for the medical. And they're on television telling you that you shouldn't be paying for anything. And some medical facilities, some hospitals that are doing unscrupulous business, like, oh, you have to pay. No, the government is paying. So don't let anybody take any money from you. Now, if you see any kind of fundraiser for the families, GoFundMe, don't contribute. There's a lot of scams that are going to pop up. Don't contribute. This is how Nigerians contributed 100 million naira for Benaya, and there's no such thing. And now the Benaya kid has traveled out, and they said he was dead and all that. Don't contribute any money to any charities you're not familiar with. Right now, what we need contributed is blood, but also when you're contributing blood, as Professor Isaac Adewale said, the Minister of Health, do not contribute blood to sources you don't know. It must be done. Okay, it must be done in a hospital. You're supposed to go to Luth, okay, Idiaraba, or Lasuth, okay? Don't give your blood to just anybody, all right? Because it must reach the people that it needs to reach. Any questions? I'm taking questions now. So what we have in Ibadan basically is, what we have right now is basically a building that has collapsed in Molete section, Bode neighborhood is right next to Molete. It's actually in Molete in Ibadan. It's a 2-story uncompleted building right now, and it collapsed earlier this evening. They are trying to rescue people. There's very minimal help. There's not a lot of, help right now. Wow, is this one related to the one in Lagos, or what am I confused? Gaming with Emmanuel. It's not related. This is Ibadan. It's a totally different thing. Funke Olu, I don't know. The Funke person said government should demolish all uncompleted buildings in Lagos and Ibadan. Well, yeah. Yeah and no. If you have an uncompleted building, okay, let the government know that you don't have money, or, you don't have money, you don't have whatever. You know what I mean? Instead of leaving the building uncompleted, that sort of thing. Hold on. Now, okay, so one in Lagos this week, one in Ibadan this evening. Mduba says even completed buildings do collapse in Nigeria. You're right of that. You're right about that. The use of substandard materials, that's another thing. If it can happen in London, Grenfell Towers, an apartment building that's been there for a long time, and a lot of immigrants died in that fire, substandard materials caused it. So we know that it can happen anywhere, that kind of stuff. Abby Alba, stupid question. Who's the next person? If I say I'm staying off social media and an explosion happens, I wouldn't go on social media, right? Okay, I didn't say I was staying off social media. I retired from journalism, and I'm still retired. So in emergencies, I won't come up, right? Let me just see who has anything, because I don't like reading comments, basically. Okay, Eddie said Nigeria needs a government that works. Wrong things happening in Africa. A lot of you are saying the same thing here. The same thing. Dubai, you've already heard. 2-story uncompleted building. People's voices are coming out of the rubble. We need really help. You know what I mean? Somebody's talking about my accent. I don't have an accent. I just have a beautiful voice. Okay, we're done. Thank you so much for joining me. So that's what's happening. We have a building collapse in Ibadan. 2-story building collapse in Bode, Molete, Shogoye area. And we don't know who's unspecified amounts of people under the rubble. And we're hearing screams and cries. Rescue operations have started. I will have more for you in the morning. And that's pretty much it for now. You can join me on Facebook at Kemi Olunloyo, Twitter at HNN Africa, Instagram at Kemi Olunloyo, and of course this YouTube channel. I'm going to start a Yoruba talk show very soon. I might start it maybe tomorrow, a Yoruba talk show on this channel, on youtube.com/Kemi Olunloyo TV, because right now my state, Oyo State, we have a new governor, and I want to put something together for people in Oyo State to start listening to every day, like a talk show. They can really listen to what's going on in the country, around the world, and all that. Everybody stays safe. They say beware of the Ides of March. March 15 is not even ended yet, but this whole tragic things happening needs to go. So we'll see you again. Stay tuned.